Well, welcome back. We want to talk about Mabry Mill now. Mabry Mill on the Blue Ridge Parkway is not only an icon and a favorite stop for travelers, but it also is very important to nearby businesses that depend upon the mill and the restaurant for tourism. But the mill is in disrepair and the restaurant closed this year. A look now at how important and how urgent this really is. Things look busy at the Poor Farmers Market in Meadows of Dan, just off the Blue Ridge Parkway and about a mile from the iconic Mabry Mill.
We have a lot of country store food products,
Yep.
like apple butter. This is made by the Amish.
Okay. Oh, okay. Great.
Honey.
But whether it's the Poor Farmers Market, a staple here for 4 decades, or the other businesses in town, business would be even better if Mabry Mill was doing better. The mill depicts the Appalachian life of Ed and Lizzie Mabry.
And when people come up here generations upon generations and they find out how Ed and Lizzie lived and worked, they find out a lot about their own families and the Southern Appalachian culture.
But the popular tourist attraction is in disrepair. The wooden shingles on the roof are twisted and weather-worn.
Daylight is water.
Exactly.
From the inside, daylight shows the massive number of leaks.
It's raining inside the mill, and it's causing the building to become unstable.
The once beautiful pond needs to be dredged, and the restaurant needs to be reopened. It never opened for the 2024 season, greatly reducing the number of tourists.
Like people, they would come here to eat and then they would go to town to shop and see the local people, and they don't do that, like they don't want to come because they can't have their pancakes, and so it's devastating to us because they're not here.
The restaurant closed when the vendor who contracted with the Park Service pulled out because the help was too expensive.
Well, they closed because the federal mandated minimum wage was $17.40, which meant that if you were a dishwasher, you got $17.40. If you're a waitress, you got $17.40. And they couldn't make that money to pay all these people $17.40 per hour. So they had to shut down because, you don't run a business and lose money.
We were disappointed, and I know our park neighbors will be disappointed to learn that there were no potential operators that stepped forward in this last call for a new concession contract.
After the previous vendor left, the Park Service advertised for another vendor and got no responses. They tried to attract food trucks with the same result. The folks down in Meadows of Dan are of the opinion that when minimum wage went over $17 an hour, that was the deciding factor that put the previous vendor out of business. Is that fair?
I think historically restaurants have a really small margin to make a profit. The seasonality, the small margins for a restaurant, the choices and availability of other services in and around the area, those are all factors I think that point to part of the struggle for making it a viable, profitable business right now.
And then there's that pond. Once pretty as a picture, it's not anymore. Shelor says she found a solution with a local contractor for $50,000. But the government says it requires environmental and historic studies first, bringing the total cost to $600,000. The Park Service confirms those numbers.
I think that number is probably an estimate that reflects the comprehensive work, the studies and the actual dredging and any other kind of compliance, everything related.
The bigger problem, perhaps, is that Mabry Mill is just one stop on the 469-mile-long parkway, which is hundreds of millions of dollars behind on badly needed maintenance. So tomorrow we'll take a closer look at the numbers and a way that the mill is getting support from another group that could make all the difference.